Hello everyone, it's GalahadB again, and I am happy to present to you Game 2 of Round 3 in this year's War of the Ring tournament. And I'm playing against TheFatHobbit again. It's, like I said, the second game. You maybe have watched the first game, which I have done a live recording of, and unfortunately I've lost that game. But not all hope is lost. If I win my next two games, then I can still live in the tournament and proceed to the next round. And I did lose as three people without any help, so yeah, I feel like there's a good chance that I can win as Shadow, and then the tiebreaker is hopefully going my way as well. So yeah, the game is doing me a great favor by giving me Corsairs of Umbar. Like if I could pick a card to have turn 1, it would probably be Corsairs. I mean, sure, it's not really playable turn 1, but I mean, this is by far the strongest card, I would say. The strategy deck. Well, maybe Shadow's Gather is also very good, but Corsairs is like a complete game changer if you can get it early enough. Balrog, well, it's nice. But I don't know yet if it's gonna be a corruption game or not, so Balrog might not be that good. And yeah, three people also have decent cards. Alright, so let's see how this one goes. It's been a while that I played it actually. So I don't remember everything. So yeah, he gets 3 moves against 1 eye, that's great. But I get 2 musters, so I'm also happy with that. So he moves, he's safe, like we would expect. I muster Saruman, or yeah, Isengard. So moves again, gets hit, 1 in reveal, that's great tile. Yeah, I'm super happy because recently whenever I hit the Fellowship on the first 3 steps, it's never been a reveal. So getting a reveal here it's really cool. Very unusual for me. Like I mean, I don't know. I didn't keep stats for all my games, but it like this year, 2023, it seems like a very odd scenario to me. Like I've had 3 people just march into Mordor without any reveals in the tournament as well. So he decides to let Gandalf fight the dust here. I'm not sure I agree with that. I don't know. I don't think it's a mistake per se. But the downside is to taking Gandalf down before Moria and then declaring into Holland. That's a little risky. Like you can do that, and especially if you feel like you might run out of time, it's a good choice. But if Shadow has anything in hand, then it would be really nasty. But I decide because of that fact, and because of the fact that I do in fact have something for Moria in the Balrog, that I decide, okay, let's try to do a little bit more corruption, to force him not to sprint. Or if he sprints, then hopefully it's gonna be really painful, and I just get an SPRV Shadow People Ring Victory. So I decide to draw another character card to, rub it in more or less. And I get like the perfect card. Like if I could pick 2 cards to start the game with every time, it would be Cruel Weather and Corsairs of Umbar, I think. So extremely excited about that. So he thinks for a while what to muster. He musters the north. I think that's fine. And then he hides. Yeah, makes sense. You don't want to risk that step if you don't have to. So I allocate 1 eye but roll 3 more. That's not ideal. And he gets turn 2 Gandalf and only 1 move against 4 eyes. So perfect roll for him. Not an amazing roll for me. Like I'd be happy if I get a hit and reveal, but it's not super likely. I mean, I roll 5 dice on 6s. That's about a 60% chance, I think, of hitting him. But I also need a reveal for the hit to do anything. And yeah, I get 2 hits, and whenever I get more than 1 hit on the hunt, feels like I never draw an eye. But honestly, the odds of me drawing an eye here weren't too high, so can't really complain about that. But I would have so loved the reveal. But I already got my reveal, so I can't really complain about that. So Sauron to war. He musters Gondor. I play Balrog now. Yeah, I was debating a bit. Like, I didn't want him to move again with a ring or something, but I felt like that was pretty unlikely to happen against Four Eyes. And so I decided, okay, let's play Balrog, because, I mean, I did hit him 2 times in 3 steps, and he still has to go to Moria, so... Yeah, the tricky thing with Balrog is that if it hits an eye, then I just wasted a great combat card for Lorien that also lets me cycle into new character cards, and I've wasted a die. The problem with the die, though, is that it was a character die, and it's only half an army movement. Oh, well, it's 1 army movement, but it's only half as effective as using an army die for it, so it's not, you know, super great use of my dice to use it like that. So and also I would have had to discard a card. So for that reason I felt like, okay, let's play Balrog. See what happens. Continue northwards. He didn't muster the elves. So he mustered the north ones and Gondor ones, so elves will probably be pretty easy to put on the siege. Lorien and Woodland Realm. So yeah. And yeah, he plays Gandalf to Grey Havens, which means he either has Book of Bazarbul or Fear Fire Foes. And I'm not super excited to see that, but I'm also not, you know, that scared, because the North has already been mustered once, so using Book of Fear Fire Foes only saves 1 die. And if he brings the dwarves to war, which would be more efficient in terms of his action dice, then I will not be able to get Erebor, probably, but I should still be able to get Woodland Realm. And then I'll get 2 or 3 victory points from the Dew Line, plus 2 from Lorien, so it puts me at 5, plus Dol Amroth, which would put me to 7, and then who knows where I'll go for my final victory points. So not the end of the world. It means probably only 2 or 3 victory points from Dew, but it's okay. Let's see, what does he have? I forgot. Yeah, he did have Book of Bazarbul. Okay. Yeah, I have a free muster, so let's muster the Southrons. And the good thing is, if he uses that, then I get a free Witch King, because otherwise I'm not sure I get it 10-3. Because I need to put both Lorien on the siege, and then Woodland Realm on the siege, and then 1 more attack. And I wouldn't really want to attack Dale by myself. He doesn't put anyone in the way, so yeah. 5 attacks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would not be enough, actually, if I went that route, so... Okay, he moves, he gets it, and he gets revealed, so I'm happy. Of course he goes through Moria. Where else is he gonna go? And I decide to use the Balrog, and it's an eye. And I think I mentioned when I played it that I expect the Balrog to draw an eye. And yeah, it did. But at least Moria gets a 2. So if I hadn't played Balrog, then the Moria tile would have been an eye. So yeah. If you think about it like that, then Balrog got some value. But it's not fun when that happens. At least not for the Shadow player. Yeah, I continue on. And now he plays Book of Bazarbul, which I might be more happy to see than Fear Fire Foes, because if he musters in the lead, then I don't know, he can get 3 hit points into Woodland Realm. Like this it's more difficult. And this is interesting. He chose not to move the Carrot regular in my way, and he also decided not to muster anything in Erebor, which I found surprising. Because you put the dwarves to war, and then he's not doing anything with them right now. And so I get a choice now between attacking Dale, putting the north to war, and then he has to muster something in Erebor. Otherwise he can siege it before he gets a chance to do anything with it. But I still really want to get the elves under siege, so I think I'm just happy about the fact that he didn't put anyone in my way and go to Old Forest Road. Yeah, just what I do. He hides. Yeah, this is a little inefficient in terms of my dice usage playing New Piles Rising with an H die. But I didn't really want to discard. I don't know yet if it's gonna be more of a corruption game or more of a military game. It depends on if he uses this Will of the West to move again. If he does, it's probably more of a corruption game because then I'll not be able to win the race, probably. If he does something else, then it's probably more of a military game. Yeah. So I want to keep some bad character cards for cycling. So that's why I'm not keen on discarding all my cards. And Denethor's Folly, I mean, it's one of my low-rated strategy cards, but I like to have it just in case Power to Great pops up. So I'm not sad to see it. So he moves, he gets it, it's a 3. And he thinks for a bit between putting the Hobbit into Lorien or into Fangorn. Yeah, both have their merits. I'm not sure. Depends on what he has. If he has an end card, I'd probably be more inclined to put it to Fangorn. He does not. Then I'm probably more inclined to put it into Lorien. But yeah, I don't know. Tough choice. And Fellowship is on 6 Corruption. On step 5. So that's not too bad. And I put Lorien under siege. Yeah, the idea was, so usually you want to put Lorien under siege first, in case Power to Great happens. But also you don't want to lose your rerolls on the Fellowship, so if he had not moved, I would have besieged Woodland Realm first, and then he would have been stuck in Dimrildale with me having 2 rerolls, but because he moved and he wasn't revealed, he can just declare away anyway, so I'll lose my rerolls no matter what. So for that reason I put everyone in. I kill one of my useless character cards, because I still have Flux of Crebain for redraws. Allocate 1, roll 1 more. I don't roll any musters, but that's okay, I don't really need them right now. And yeah, we roll, and then he realized that he didn't declare away. So technically, you know, his ship has sailed. But I mean, it's like an obvious declare away. There's no reason not to declare away. So I say sure. Like I was initially feeling happy that he didn't declare away because that meant that I get a free Cruel Weather back into Moria, so I can potentially draw another stronghold tile. But that's not how I want to win a game, right? On my opponent just doing an obvious mistake because he forgot it. And it always feels to me that in a real board game, if we played on a real table, then you wouldn't just forget like this step. You forget it because it's so convenient and everything's so quick in Java. But like in a real game, I don't think you would forget something like that. At least not as easily as on Java. So I let him declare away, which he accepts. Which makes me sad, but oh well. So he moves, he's safe, and now I'm thinking, so what should I do? Like the initial plan, Dimrildale, and then we'll weather him back into Moria seemed fun. My new plan is a little more strange. I put the Fellowship back into Lorien, which, like, yeah, I could have moved them back into Dimrildale, but I don't have any rerolls there, so it's not really helping me that much. I mean, it's helping me by pushing him back 1, but it's not as good as pushing him into rerolls. Pushing him into an Elven Stronghold is a little more questionable. And I do have Candles of Corpses in hand, so that's kind of silly. But then I'm thinking, like, the chances of me hitting him when he moves are pretty high because I now have 2 rerolls. So even if I don't hit him now or don't reveal him now, he'll probably want to declare away anyways. And my cards are online again. And sure, in case he gets worried about corruption, he can just declare in Lorien, but then he loses all progress, and suddenly we're back in a military game. So I decide, okay, there's no real harm in pushing him into an Elven Stronghold in a game like this, because he's not threatening me militarily. So, yeah. I want my rerolls. I don't want Cool Weather to get bricked because I don't roll characters or Cs, or he gets revealed into Galahad or something and I have 6 eyes. You know, just be safe and get a good use out of it than risk not getting a use out of it. Now I put Wooden Drum on the siege, and I attack it, and I think I play Fox here. Yeah, I want to cycle into more character cards. And I get 3 hits, that's great. Woodland Realm dies in 1 round. Perfect. I draw another card that I can cycle, which is good. He moves, he gets it. I mean, I didn't really need the rerolls, but 2 dice hitting on 5s is far away from being a guaranteed hit. 4 dice hitting on 5s is much more likely. So again, I get 2 hits, I don't draw an eye, but 2 reveal is great. So yeah, now I move to Lorien. He hides. I think I play Candles now. Oh no, I don't. Well, I still have time with Candles because he still has 4 companions in the Fellowship. But yeah, I do play it and get 2 hits. So now he's on 8 corruption. I mean, that's really, really painful. And he still has 4 more steps to go. So corruption is looking like a real problem. So I attack Lorien. I could play Devilry of Orthanc, but to me this feels more like a corruption game. So I want to cycle character cards. Like, the reasoning for that is that he's pretty close to Mordor, and the hunt pool is not that scary yet. Also, I still have 3 tile drawing cards in my deck, and they get much worse once he's in Mordor because the risk is just that much higher. Because then I risk drawing an eye, and the eye actually makes the hunt pool much softer, whereas if I draw an eye before Mordor, it's not great, but at least all those eyes come back in the Mordor pool. So it's much, much better to draw an eye before Mordor than drawing an eye in Mordor with the tile drawing card. So yeah, I'm hoping to fish some of the good cards that I can only play before Mordor, like Nazgul Search, Nazgul Strike, or that are much safer to play before Mordor, like the 3 tile drawing cards and Breaking of the Fellowship. Especially, like the best card to get here is Falling from the Deep. There's still 2 1s in there, and if they snipe Strider, that's just a game changer. Alright, I got 1 hit, he gets 2 hits. I don't press, and I draw Breaking of the Fellowship. So one of the 4 tile drawing cards. This is a little more restricted because I can only draw a tile when the Fellowship is revealed. But it's also the most powerful of the 4 because it can inflict the most corruption damage. Like, if I play that and draw 3, that might just win me the game. So this roll, like, usually wouldn't be too good. 2 Palantirs, 2 Musters, is not what you're looking for usually. Only 3 attacks. But like I said, this feels more like a corruption game, so I'm happy with the Palantirs. And I do need some Musters to get the Southrons to war, so I'm very happy with this roll. So he moves, he's safe. Alright. Get the Southrons to war. To put some pressure on him to use the Will of the West. He doesn't know that I don't have Day Without Dawn. And also Process of Umbar. And so interesting. Oh yeah, I do have another attack. So yeah, this is a fun situation. Well, fun for me, because he got the dwarves to war 3 turns ago. No, 2 turns ago. But he never mustered anything in Erebor. So he always had the risk of me just putting Erebor on the siege before he musters up. And now this turn he did have a Will of the West, which he could have used to do that. But he didn't see the threat of me moving out from Woodland Realm and attacking Erebor. And I might not have done that if the North was already at war, because then I risk him mustering an elite in Dale and then putting Woodland Realm back under siege again. But with the North not at war and not blocking anything, and him not having a muster die, like, yeah, he can defend against that by using a ring, muster an elite into Erebor, but I would be so happy with that. Then I get a ring for him not to move the Fellowship. That's great. But if he doesn't do that, I'm also happy, because that means I can get 5 victory points from the dual line instead of the 3 that I had anticipated. And while I have more of a corruption focus right now, I do definitely want to win the game. By whatever means is most likely to get me the win, and it's always better to have a lot of military pressure so that he can't move super slowly, draw all his deck, and just win by a ring dunk anyways. Like, corruption strategy is much more efficient if the Free People player is running out of time and they have to take greater risks. So yeah, I'm very happy that he didn't muster up anything in Erebor. I don't know when the best time to do that would have been, but I feel like he should have at least put one more elite in there at some point. So I get to put Erebor on the siege, which I'm super excited about, and then I also have Corsairs, as you know, so I get to besiege Dol Amroth. And yeah, he does have Kidan's ships. I think he plays it now. Yeah. But that's okay. I mean, 12 hit points against 7. They don't have any leadership. That's still a fight that, if I don't have to press it down with one action, that I'm favored to win, I think. I just need to go about it a little more slowly. Okay, so now I attack Lorien. I don't want to play Breaking, because that is still a potential game winner if I can play it. So I play Devilry of Warthank, and I whiff. He gets 3 hits back. I'm not happy. But oh well. It is what it is. He moves again, and the reroll gets him, and it's a reveal, so this is great. Because now I get to play Breaking of the Fellowship. And I say, is it another eye? Because, like I said, it feels like it's so often an eye. But the pool is pretty good. I mean, it's 2 out of 8, so only 25% chance for an eye, which would suck. But also 25% chance of a 3, which is just a downright game winner. Like, a 3 is guaranteed 6 points of corruption, at least. And I do draw the 3. So, yeah. Bad luck for the Free People. But I'm very happy with it. Because, I mean, he can still ring dunk, but it's gonna be a nightmare now. And he's gonna be really careful. And now the problem with this is usually you would say, okay, you just separate all the little ones and keep Strider as the guide. But he also has Axe and Bow, which he would lose if he separates Legolas. So it makes some sense to keep Legolas in the Fellowship and have Strider roaming the board, because then you can maybe Crown Strider or use him to play Deadman of Dunharrow. But then you also lose the guide ability. So yeah, it's tough. I don't know what I would have done. And he's thinking about it for a bit. Oh yeah, and he wanted to check if he could use Axe and Bow to reduce the damage by 1. But he cannot. It's not hunt damage. It's just a special resolution. It doesn't say here resolve it like a hunt. It says he has to separate a number of companions equal to the number of the tile. It's not damage, and so he can't reduce his accent bow. So yeah, he separates. Yeah, at first he separated everyone and kept Strider in, but then he thought some more and kept Legolas to keep accent bow. I think both options make sense. You're not excited about this outcome either way, but yeah, you gotta do what you have to do. So I muster up in Dunland because I have Rage of the Dunlandings. And I see that not only did he not reinforce Erebor yet, he also didn't reinforce Rivendell yet. And I want him to feel some pressure there, so that if he doesn't do anything about it, then I can just run into Rivendell. If he has another turn without musters, or just one muster that he wants to spend elsewhere, maybe. Yeah, he does get a roll with very low musters, but I have a roll with basically nothing. Yeah, I'm not happy about that, obviously. So he pressures a military attempt. And I was thinking about it. At first, I said pass, because I felt like, okay, I mean, he doesn't have leadership in West Toronto, so he would have to give me a ring just to move this guy anywhere. And then I can just retake it next round, get 1 or 2 more leads into Niharat, besiege it, and then take back Umbar. And I would have just gotten a ring out of it. But then I felt, well, I mean, I have this muster, what else am I gonna do? So, yeah. I mean, I did say pass first, but he didn't do anything yet, so I think that's fair. And like I said, it would be the end of the world if he had taken West Toronto and given me a ring. But then I would have risked that he could maybe take Morannon this round. It would have been really unlikely because he would have given me a ring, so I could have used it to move Gorgoroth into Morannon and then also muster up. So yeah, very unlikely. So he puts Minas Morgul under siege, which, yeah, I don't really mind. Yes, Mordor does look a little weak, but it's basically impossible for him to get, with this tiny army, to get 4 victory points in Mordor. I mean, he can get Barad-dûr, but then he can't really get out anymore. So I move some leadership around. So does he. But crucially, Gandalf is not with this army, so I'm not really worried about it. And yeah, now he attacks Gorgoroth. And he does get 3 hits, so he can take Barad-dûr next round. But he leaves 1 guy behind, so now he only has a 5 hit point army. And I can take back Barad-dûr next round. So I'm not really worried at all about it right now. And I think, allocate 1 eye. Yeah, I allocated 1 eye, rolled 0 more, so I'm very happy with that. And he gets a great roll. But yeah, maybe not that great, because 2 straight musters is not what you really want in this position when you try to go for a military win. And yeah, he threatens both Barad-dûr and Moria. I mean, it's so easy to defend Moria, so I'm not exactly worried about it, and just muster an elite into Gorgoroth. And so yeah, he moves like this, and now I'm thinking, okay, I can defend Moria and Gorgoroth by putting a regular in both of them. But then I'm like, I mean, this army in Holland, again, does not have any leadership. So he can't really march into Moria with it unless he gives me another ring. And with me having another spare muster, it's a big army. I have Deadly Strife, Desperate Battle, Relentless Assault, like everything in hand, I can just take it back, and then if I take it back, I have a big army in Moria that can merge up with Lorien to Lorien down as well. So I'm not exactly worried about Moria, and in fact, I prefer for him to try Moria than for this army to do stuff in Minas Mogul or Morannon, because that just feels a lot more risky. So I just put another lead into Morannon, and he takes the bait. He merges up armies. I'm a little worried because it's technically possible that he wins the battle in Morannon and in Minas Mogul, but he only has a single press. He only has 2 leadership. Even if he has Enduril, it's only 1 free hit because it's Strider, not Aragorn. And also I have Swarm of Bats. So I feel like the odds of him taking Minas Mogul with no help is basically 0. Like, he only has 1 attack. But just to be safe, I put some extra Nazgul there, so it's even less likely that he can succeed there. I must another lead in Dunland, and then I go for Moria. And he tries Minas Mogul. And yeah, he plays a character card. I don't know what it is, but I have Swarm of Bats. I know I don't need Swarm of Bats for Moria. He only rolls 1 die. And I have a Deadly Strife that I'm planning to use, so I just use Swarm of Bats here. And it was a Mighty attack. So that was a card that I was afraid of. The other would have been Confusion. Like, if Confusion gets 2 hits against my own army, then I might lose that stronghold. But this way he only rolls 7 dice. He gets 1 hit, which is pretty much spot on the expected value. But I have 9 dice that I have 4 Nazguls there, so I get 3 hits. And with 3 hits, which is exactly expected value again, right? 9 dice hitting on 5s is expected 3 hits. So we both get expected hits, which means his army is basically dead. There's no way he can take more victory points in Mordor. And you could argue that, well, maybe he should have moved Boromir with him, then he would have had a shot, but then the Barad-dûr army is just gone. Like, there's nobody left in Barad-dûr. Unless he just keeps the regular there and moves Boromir with that army. But that wouldn't have changed much, then he would have just gotten 1 more reroll, and that's it. So yeah, I think getting 4 victory points out of Mordor with such a small army is just very, very tough. So I attack Moria again. Well, not again, for the first time. Oh right, yeah, I didn't use the Deadly Strife because I didn't feel pressured enough. I still have 1 more attack after this, so even if this doesn't go my way, I could still try again. I'd rather keep the Deadly Strife for other battlegrounds. And yeah, I just take it, and I'm happy. He starts mustering up in Sirith. I don't mind that. The plan is to take back Barad-dûr next round. If he reinforces Minas Mogul, otherwise I don't need to worry about it. And I play another red tile. So it's great for me. I mean, this is still more of a corruption game than anything else. And I'd love for him to stall for time. Because as long as he's not in Mordor, all the cards that I can draw that can hurt the Fellowship are guaranteed good or neutral, but they can never be bad. Like tile drawing cards, pre-Mordor, like I said earlier, they can, at the very worst, draw an eye, which will get added back to the pool, but they can never downright make the game easier for the Fellowship. Whereas the free people cards are always good. So, yeah. Like, if he's already in Mordor, and I then draw tile drawing cards, there's a risk attached to them, whereas he never has the risk. So, yeah, in a perfect world, if you're the free people player, you'd rather stall while in Mordor, so that the shadow player has more of a risk. but that also gives me the Mouth of Sauron, and you risk losing an extra corruption if you don't at least hide or move once during a turn. Which can happen if you are out of rings and didn't roll a single movement or something. Yeah. So interestingly, he plays Through a Day and a Night and threatens Umbar. And again, I'm not really feeling pressured here because I can easily take back Barad-dûr. I have rings, so I can get leadership there. I was thinking maybe he would move to Osgiliath and then into Minas Tirith to crown Aragorn. But I also think it's getting kind of late for that. It's turn 8. And while I only have 2 victory points, I have 3 more strongholds locked up, which would push me to 8 victory points, and then Dale and Pelagius seem pretty free to take. So I'm deceptively close to military victory. Like, it's not happening this turn, it's not happening next turn, but it's not that far away, depending on how Erebor goes, but yeah. So I move the guys from Neharad into Umbar, and oh, interesting, I moved to Holland to threaten Rivendell, yeah. I thought I would move to Gorgoroth from Morannon to take back Barad-dûr, but I'm not exactly worried that this 3 hit point army could take Umbar. Yeah, I think that's the reasoning there. He puts Umbar under siege, and I move like this. He has the Great Company. So now he has 4 hit points against 4 hit points, but he's only rolling 4 combat dice, Strider. Not even a full army yet. Yeah. And I have half orcs, so I can just reinforce it, and that basically shuts the door. I mean, like the other alternative would have been to move Nazgul around with a ring. Then he has 4 hit points against my 4 hit points. I would have more rerolls than him. Did he have great cards? Doubt it. Oh, Valor. Okay. And Confusion. Okay, Confusion can be scary, though it's unlikely to be that good. He tries Umbar anyways, which I found interesting because that risks losing Strider. If I get 4 hits here, then he's just dead. He plays Valor, he gets 1 hit, though a little below expected value. He would have expected 1.5 hits or something. And I get 3 hits back. So Aragorn is not yet dead, but almost. And his threat of a military victory is basically gone. And I'm thinking now, maybe I just attack and kill Strider. But he's not crowned anyway, so why do I even care? And I don't mind him crowning him in Minas Tirith next turn, then it's turn 9. We're getting even closer to the game's end. So, and I risk him having scouts and me just wasting an attack for no reason. So I decide it's not worth it. Let's just put Rivendell under siege. Yeah, exactly. Because he didn't muster up with a muster die. So I besiege Rivendell with only a single hit point there. That's perfect. And I say, yeah, Umbar was a ballsy play. And he says, yeah, I think I had no other choice. Which I can see, because Fellowship is like in dire straits. Effective 5 corruption, 2 steps out with a hunt pool that is not looking too bad, but it's also not looking great. And like I said, yes, I only have 2 victory points, but I have 3 strongholds locked up. Which, I mean, Lorien with this army I will probably not win. Erebor with this army I will not win, but I have a giant reinforcement pool over here. And Umbar, it's gonna cost me more than 1 die probably, but I should win it. So yeah, I can see why he feels pressured. But I think Umbar was extremely unlikely to go his way. Like, even with the Great Company, it was a 4 hit point army. trying to win a siege against another 4 hit point army. That's just almost never going to work out. Unless you had Kid and Ships and could put 2 more Elven elites in there, but he already played Kid and Ships, so that was never an issue for me. So I use a ring to attack Rivendell, cycling some cards. Because I feel now the only chance he has is dunking the ring. So I want to draw more character cards to get tile drawing cards pre-Mordor. I get 2 hits, and I'm up to 4 victory points. Oh, and I draw into Black Captain. Perfect. And now I muster up in Moria to reinforce Lorien. Yeah, he gets a good roll, but it's crucially not enough to get him into Mordor. Unless he gives me his last ring, which I would also be fine with. And yeah, he's just setting up more reinforcements to go after Umbar again, which I think is a mistake at this point. I mean, I can see desperation plays, but I mean, there's a giant army packed in Gorgoroth, and even more backup in Minas Morgul, so Barad-dûr will never hold. And while you can put some pressure towards Nihilrad and Angmar, I also have a pretty sizable army in Rivendell, and the north is not even at war, so Angmar is not really a play that's going to happen anytime soon. Yeah, I just muster up some more. I muster Nazgul because I feel like I don't even need anything else. Oh, and yeah, and he doesn't move the north towards Angmar, but the dwarves. But it's just a single dwarf regular, single elite in Angmar should stop him. And he can't even get there this turn. Because, yeah, the single dwarf does not have any leadership. I'm not worried. So I play Black Captain commands. I try to take back Barad-dûr. And he uses a ring for this. I muster something there to stop him from taking both Fahorad and Angmar next turn easily. And yeah, he tries Umbar again, and I'm not really feeling pressured because I think it's very unlikely for him to even take Umbar with 5 hit points. So I play no card. I was thinking maybe play Black Breath, but like I said, I didn't feel under enough pressure. So he plays Confusion now, gets 1 hit. I don't roll a 1, crucially, but even if I get 1 hit against my own army, that probably wouldn't be so bad. And again, we get perfectly expected hits, pretty much. He gets 1, I get 3, and I win the 50-50 by not rolling a 1. So yeah, like I said, it's just been very unlikely for him to take Umbar. And he's wasting a lot of dice pursuing that dream. And I take Barad-dûr. And now he hides the Fellowship. And so I play Isildur's Bane. Like, what's the worst that can happen? I could draw an eye, but the pool is pretty good, and I'm happy to just get the tiles out of there. And if I get a 3, then it's even better than that. I get a 1 reveal, which is also fine. He tries to use Axe and Bow, but Isildur's Bane says you have to use the ring, nothing else. May not be reduced in any way before using the ring, so not even Axe and Bow. So yeah, game is basically in the bag now. He can't really do anything. He now moves Aragorn or Strider to Minas Tirith, but now the Gondorian force pool is pretty much empty. There's some regulars left, but no elites. So I'm looking to just trap him in Minas Tirith and conquer it. He plays Therimir's Rangers. He wanted to get something in my way, but he can't do it because Therimir's Rangers only lets you recruit if there's a Free People army in Osgiliath. You can play it without one there, but then you don't get the recruit. So I don't mind that. yeah, he keeps mustering. I besiege. And he moves Fellowship. Save. Interesting. I don't play Nazgul Strike. Yeah, I can always play it next turn. There's no real rush to kill Strider. He's Strider and not Aragorn, so he can't really do much. Yeah, I just roll 3 6s. But the game is, I think, pretty much done anyways. Oh, and then yeah, and I get 2 for the weak come to kill afterwards, so Strider dies. And the Fellowship is not in Mordor yet. Moves, he's hit, he's revealed, so I can't play Nazgul Strike anymore. I draw both the remaining eyes. And I also have Mortal Wound, so he's up to 10 corruption. Yeah. It's a done deal. I'm cycling some cards to hopefully get something else that can punish him. And I did get Foul Thing, which is guaranteed to hit something good now, because there's no more eyes in the pool. The pool is basically completely gone. And he needs a really big miracle now. And I get Foul Thing 3, so he's up to 11 corruption before even being in Mordor. Like, there's still some chances he has File and Smeagol, but also military is looking rough now because I'm at 8 victory points and I have Lorien and Dol Amroth under siege, and I can take 2 more cities. And he's completely out of rings, so like there's almost nothing that he can do. And I take Dale to get to 9 victory points, cycle another character card. And he gets a pretty bad roll, but I think it doesn't matter at this point. I get Mouth of Sauron. He gets he does get There Is Another Way, and Smeagol helps Nice Master, so Gollum is his friend this game. It's still looking grim, and he's running out of time. I take Pelargir, and the game is done. Yeah, so this went a lot more my way than the first game. It's interesting, like, what could he really have done differently? I mean, in hindsight, taking Gandalf down to the 1 and also revealing into Holland was a little dangerous, but I mean, sometimes you have to take risks like that. Because otherwise you risk being too slow and too safe, and then you lose a military victory before you even get a chance to dunk. So I don't think that was a mistake, to say. Though I think I would have let Gandalf live. It was only a 1-end reveal. It was turn 1, so you couldn't have gotten Gandalf the White anyways. So I think I would have preferred to just keep him alive. You had a 3rd character die that you didn't really want to use to move again. So you could have just used that to hide and then try and kill Gandalf off next round. That probably wouldn't have changed too much of the outcome this game, but that would have meant that the Fellowship would have been a little bit safer. Yeah. Other than that, there's no real way to play around breaking other Fellowship, hitting for 3, and just doing 6 points of corruption damage. That's just tough to recover from. So I think once the breaking of the Fellowship hit for 3, you were just kinda a desperate situation. I think he should not have taken the bait and gotten a free Moria, because he couldn't defend it anyways. My army was too big in Dunland. So but I don't really know what else you would do instead. Morannon had 5 hit points. Yeah, I don't really know. It's just tough. So I can show you the stats. I feel like they are not very important in a game like this, because the most important one here was the tile drawing. But anyways, stats are fairly balanced. He's -4 on 6s, but +6 on 5s. Though I guess it was a little painful because he was besieging my strongholds a couple of times. But we went over the combat rolls on those, and they were all completely average. So he was hitting lower on 6s and higher on 5s elsewhere. And even, like, I still have 4 guys left in Umbar, and I never had less than 4 regulars in Minas Mogul. So even if he had hit slightly better in the sieges, that still wouldn't have been enough. Like, he really needed a blowout luck, like rolling 4 or 5 6s in one round of combat to have a shot there. And even then, I don't think it would have been enough. Yeah. Yeah, that's what corruption can do to the free people. If you haven't gone out for a military attempt from the get-go, it's just very hard to change gears later on. So yeah, that was game 2, so we will have a tiebreaker game, and I'll hope to cover it soon. Thank you guys for watching, have a good day, and goodbye.